not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise.
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
Fuck good.
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Sup, Chuddle Club members. Welcome to a very special episode of Chuddle the Pod, where horror movie lovers have a feel-good time. Why is it special, you ask? Because we kicked Ross out. He's not part of the show anymore.
It happened. I mean, remember that news cycle thing we were talking about? Well, we told that to the patrons, but
right.
This officially starts the new cycle of everything.
Exactly.
We kicked Ross out.
He wanted to stop pounding his desk. So
we couldn't take it anymore.
It's over.
We wanted to do this more low tone NPR type thing and just or public radio or something.
Exactly.
Make it personal. Ross couldn't contain himself.
No.
Thank you for tuning in.
Animal. He may join us later on in the episode if he gets here in time. We'll see.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for being here, Bryan.
Huh?
We, on this show, we'll keep it spoiler free up top. We'll let you know when the spoilers are coming, when the bombs are dropping and the bullets are flying. But tonight, we are going to Chuddle Overlord from 2018.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That is correct.
And I hope you are ready for this World War II jaunt into Nazi
It is World War
science.
II jaunt indeed. Yes.
Before we continue, I must take this moment to thank our coven of patrons.
Oh, we love you, Coven.
Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls.
We thank you.
Patrons get bonus episodes where we cover non-horror movies, mailbags, creepypasta, gnarly history, and Chuddle battles where we pin villains from horror movies we've covered against each other.
Oh, those Chuddle battles, those are very exciting episodes. Real high energy.
We should do one of those again.
Yeah, I mean, it's as crazy as this is right now.
It is. It's maybe even slightly crazier.
I don't know. I feel pretty off the wall.
Now, with some club members present in the coven avowed, it's time to crack open the goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Throwing off those chains of being quiet and talking more excited. We'll see how long this lasts.
Oh, boy.
Well, we got to start where we always start.
Let's do some lines.
Ross ain't here. It was always about cocaine.
Starting with the log line, moving over to the tagline, our log line from IMDb. A small group of American soldiers find horror behind enemy lines on the eve of D-Day. It's pretty good. I
actually like that. Yeah.
I think it's maybe like a day or two before D-Day. Not like
it's supposed to
the
be
night of.
It is supposed to be the night of.
The night of?
They mention it. They're like, yeah, we got to get this done by the morning. Otherwise, everything's fucked.
Okay. Because then it doesn't seem like they do get it done in time. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Well, sure.
Tagline: Stop the unstoppable. Fine, I guess. It doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, no.
And there's just one.
Interesting.
Yeah, just
All
the
right,
one,
JJ.
and it's not that interesting.
choice.
Mm-hmm. Movies are made by people. People that made this movie are... It was directed by Julius Avery and written by Billy Ray and Mark L. Smith. Billy Ray, I know, did the initial draft because I watched a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff where Mark L. Smith did like the version we saw. People that acted in the movie... Let's talk about a few of those.
Sorry, I didn't know Mark L. Smith that well, but he did one of your things.
What's that?
A bear-related movie, The Revenant.
Oh.
He wrote that.
Yeah, he must have done the adaptation.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever he did on that. He did the screenplay for Twisters, apparently. He's done a bunch of screenplay stuff. Yeah. The screenplay, this looks like this is the Marty's remake.
Oh, interesting. He did the adaptation of Marty's, aka Martyrs.
Right, yeah, sorry, Martyrs. Yeah. for anyone that's not hasn't listened to our Martyrs episode, go check it out if you're interested in that movie. No, he's got a few things that I was not expecting to see under their belt.
Cool.
And Julius. I don't know Julius as well, if you're familiar with the director.
I don't know. I didn't look.
Oh, directed The Pope's Exorcist.
Okay. Didn't see that.
That's probably the other notable thing here. I did. It was fine for what it was.
Sure.
The best part was just seeing a big Russell Crowe riding around on a little moped Vespa thing.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, as a priest.
All right, let's go to our cast. We got Jovan Adepo as PFC Edward Boyce, Wyatt Russell as Corporal Lewis Ford, Matilda Olivier as Chloe Laurent, Pilu Asbeck as Captain Waffner, John Magaro as PFC Lyle Tibbett, who I'm going to call him New York guy, and when we get there.
Oh, yeah, I like New York guy.
Ian D. Kastecker as PFC Morton Chase. That's going to be camera fella. We got Jacob Anderson as PFC Charlie Dawson, writer guy. Dominic Applewhite as PFC Jacob Rosenfeld, Jewish friend. Just honorable mention, Bokeem Woodbine as Sergeant.
Come on, you got to
Renzen.
mention Bokeem.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
Bokeem's great.
Whenever he's in any movie, I'm that goddamn Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen.
Goddamn know it. And I was happy. So I hadn't seen this before. I knew nothing going in. Spoiler for my history. I knew people really wanted to wait to get to that moment.
God damn it, Bryan. But not that I was playing along.
Oh. I figured as much, but I thought you were seriously mad at me for a second. Wyatt Russell. I was excited to see him. I've found myself becoming a big fan of his.
Yeah, because so you watched him in the Godzilla show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but he plays a younger version of his dad in that show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do plan to get to it eventually. So this was the first thing I noticed him in because I saw this. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it shortly when it was streaming. So, and I've been a fan of his since this movie. So like when I watched Night Swim recently, I was like, oh, Wyatt Russell. And then I was like, oh, because I watched the whole thing.
God, I could. Yeah.
Yep. That's for when we do the Night Swim.
I mean,
episode.
it had some beautiful daily color correction, but
are you
otherwise,
kidding me? On
some of the best I've ever seen.
Fire, absolutely.
But an otherwise lackluster story.
Tough to make a pool scary. All right, well, enough of that. It's time for our gore meter for this one.
It's time for the gore meter. Fatality.
Like I said, time for the gore meter.
You know what that means.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this movie? Consistency, intensity, put them together. Right, Bryan, you got any initial thoughts?
Ooh, yeah, I'd say it is on the gorier end. With some stuff that we get, especially towards once we get into the church, we'll say.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe like a 2.5 to a 3. I feel like it happens more on the back end.
I was going to give it a 3. It is more back end, but you get some like battle gore, I guess, beforehand.
You get some stuff right up front. I do forget about that. That's an intense scene right away too. So yeah, a 3's pretty good there. And then our gore, maybe like 4.5. It's high, I'd say.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, I think
I'll go 4 with you. I was thinking 3, but I mean, you're kind of right. It is higher than 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that works pretty well.
I think that works pretty good. Yeah, it is a gory film.
Yes, but it almost feels kind of fun. It does feel fun. It's actiony.
Yes, it's very fun.
It's
slick. So, it's not
exactly. It's a real stylized. We'll talk about all that coming up soon, but I really enjoy just the style, what it's playing around with there. I think the gore works well in that camera scope.
I agree. We have another question to ask. Who is the horror for? The number 4, because now we have 4 questions. So starting with, what subgenres does it fall into? World War II
action horror.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely
World
like
War
a
II.
World War II movie.
100%. Yes.
Action horror, sci-fi horror.
If you played any of the Call of Duty zombies games, you're a fan of those. You'd be a fan of this. Yeah. It's funny because this movie did make me want to, like, I used to play like one of the old Call of Duty games, one of the World War II ones. I was like, I could go back and play that again after.
You. Yeah.
I'm sure.
I was still playing video games at that time. We played a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay. Then it made me
like
reminisce
fortifying
on
that cabin or whatever the fuck it was.
Who fucking knows? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably the zombie, whatever. But it
Mhm.
felt so. If you like that, you like this. I don't know. I think those hit it pretty much. The
Yeah,
sci-fi,
beyond that, yeah, it's really
actiony.
sort of action horror,
Mhm.
World War II.
Love it.
What kind of environment is best to watch this? I think your first watch, the more people, the better, especially if it's their first watch. It's a good crowd reaction type of movie, I feel like.
Yeah,
You could be with friends telling jokes, but it's still like,
I think
don't
hang
know,
out and enjoy it and just
a
have
fun environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice
You
to
can
see
watch
this.
it by yourself. I probably only have done that, but it'd
yeah,
be more
I
fun with people.
have only done that. It would seem like it might be a good theater watch, like on a big screen, like
Totally.
fun
Yeah.
action time.
Some of the sequences would be amazing, especially
We'll talk
the
about
opening.
the sequences, the amazing sequences. Stay tuned.
Is it for beginners?
Why not? I don't see any reason
be.
not to. Yeah, exactly.
The gore level's a bit high,
If you're
but
looking
you
for,
have the action.
Mhm.
You have the element of other things that are more familiar to kind of handle it.
I think if you're looking for like a real scary horror movie, you're not necessarily going to get it with this. So that
It's
would
more
be
if you're interested in gore, sort of
Mhm.
monstery,
Mhm.
creature effect type stuff.
If you love action, if you love the Fast and the Furious and haven't dove into horror movies, this is a great start.
If you just watched Saving Private Ryan and you were like,
Ooh,
I really like the setting, but it wasn't fun.
this was not fun.
Check this one out.
That's the perfect. We should leave
If
it
you want
right
to know what
there.
happened the night before.
Exactly. This directly leads into Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, it technically does.
That's the weird double feature: Overlord to Saving Private Ryan.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna do it one of these days. I need to take some.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, not really, but
We'll do it at a
Chuddle
Chuddle Fest. That'll be a Chuddle Fest double feature.
Sure.
The Overlord
That'll be the
Saving-
non-horror movie, but more like maybe the most real horror movie of them
yeah,
all.
right. Might just be the most horrific of them all.
Yeah.
Great.
Should you know anything going into this one? Don't need to.
No, I don't think nothing's really necessary.
You don't need to go in blind, but I think there's no reason to know anything, so might as well.
Agreed.
All right, we got somebody fapping at the window.
Sure.
Fap, fappity fap. It's the
They're doing it.
Hothman, the Mothman,
The
Mothman,
Mothman.
harbinger of doom. Coming in with his words of warning. Get some vomit at the beginning.
Sure
on the plane.
do. If that's the only time.
Body horror stuff.
Yes.
But nothing too bad, I don't think. Again, it's kind of slick and fun.
Sexual assault stuff. It stops
Yeah,
short of
yeah,
anything, but it's there.
Yeah.
But I think those might be some of the biggest ones that I remember off the top of my head.
Just be the major ones.
Yeah, cool. Needles, if you
I
have a
agree.
problem with needles.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, that does it. We can hop
aboard into a convoy of dead bodies. Spoiler zone.
All right. So going into our IMDb behind the scenes, got a few up top, few mixed in. I deleted a lot because in classic, especially for a war movie, classic IMDb fashion, a lot of it's just like
A lot of gun stuff.
yeah. All right.
Yep.
The movie featured more practical effects rather than standard CGI effects most movies use. This was done to get a better reaction from the actors involved in the scenes where something gruesome would happen. And I watched a ton of the behind the scenes, and a lot of it is a mix of practical and CGI effects where they build like a lot of mold, and they do a lot of awesome practical effects that would look great on their own. And then add in, little CGI touches. And J.J. Abrams, we haven't mentioned, but produced this. This is a Bad Robot movie, and he is all over the behind the scenes. He was really hands-on, and he is really important to him to try and use as much practical effects as possible because, he's a big fan of that stuff.
Love it. It shows. Works really well.
Yeah. So this is sort of a fun history accurate thing that they did. The clickers used by the squad after landing in France were called crickets. Only the 101st Airborne Division was equipped with crickets, and only the paratroopers of the division received it a few days before June 6, 1944. So just cool that, they went the extra mile in certain things. Mm-hmm. There's quite a few effects like that as well. I did not include all of them, right. Or most of them.
Sure.
In an interview with Jimmy Fallon, Wyatt Russell said he had mono while filming and that he lost around 25 pounds.
God damn.
Tough.
Yeah.
Especially, it's a pretty physical movie.
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
Yeah. Operation Overlord was the code name for the Allied operation for the Battle of Normandy, which launched the successful invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe. This, alongside Operation Neptune, would become known as D-Day. Oh. So that's where it gets its name, because it's never said in the movie.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I think I thought about that.
It's one of those things. I certainly was like, why is this movie called Overlord?
Right. Yeah. I did think that after the first watch.
So that's why.
Thank you.
The original version of the script, written in 2013 by screenwriter Billy Ray, was very different in some parts than the final movie before it was changed over the years and after another writer, Mark L. Smith, was brought on to polish the script. One of the biggest differences included only having Boyce, Ford, and Chloe as main heroes and far more focus on horror elements of the story. Entire third act and action scenes in the ending were almost completely different than the ones in the film. For example, Boyce, Ford, and Chloe were fighting against even more undead Nazis inside the church and laboratory and using every weapon they had or found trying to stop them. At one point, Boyce even throws some grenades at Nazis, but when that doesn't work, he has to use a giant sword to decapitate them, and then uses the flamethrower to burn the last ones before blowing them up for good. Interesting change there. Last one I got. The climax of the film is set in real time from the point that Ford says he's setting the explosive timer for 18 minutes until the church explodes is almost exactly 18 minutes.
That's fun.
Yeah, always fun when they do something like that. Something I want to mention, because reading this made me think of it. I guess J.J. Abrams was like, people wanted to complain about casting Boyce as a black man. They did blind casting. And same with Bokeem Woodbine, because historically accurate.
Fighting the Nazi zombies.
Segregated, essentially.
They're worried about it.
Well, that's why that was his point. Yeah. He was like, we're taking some liberties here. There's plenty of stuff that wasn't real. We're going to blind cast for the best actors.
Yeah. No, I think it was great.
So
they did an awesome job.
Yeah. That's it. But you had his exact point. Next up, we don't really pick them anymore. We would always say who picked it, why in history. This is more of I had suggested it. This was going to be a pick of mine upcoming because I saw it when it came out, really liked it, hadn't seen it since, had wanted to revisit it. I know, Bryan, you had not heard of it, right?
Knew nothing of it.
So I think I was still working my old job where it'd be at Comic Cons, and I'm pretty sure this had a big promotion at Comic-Con in San Diego. So I know I ended up with some pens that were top movie promotions. They looked like the syringes full of the serum, and they said Overlord on them because I had those for a while. And so that was how I became aware of the movie. And then I knew somebody who saw it and really liked it and gave them one of the pens. So I saw it when I could.
Oh, yeah.
And that's mine. And yours is just
what you said.
Over what?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're doing what now? I didn't know what to expect, but here we were. I didn't know it was so, I guess, recent. I mean, I didn't know anything, obviously.
Right. No idea.
Wyatt Russell pops on the screen. I'm like, hey. I
like him.
Yeah, I'm having fun. Cool. Let's get into Overlord.
Wyatt Russell, Bokeem Woodbine.
Yeah, right?
Oh, shit.
I'm there.
Let's go.
Right?
All right, yeah. World War II, the big one. Battleships and big-ass planes.
This is the big one.
Overlord title card, 4 seconds into the movie. Quick.
I like it.
Quick.
I missed it the first time.
Bunch of young soldiers on... Yeah. Bunch of young soldiers on a plane doing some character development.
Great stuff.
We get our main guy, Boyce, our New York guy, who's going to kill Hitler as soon as he gets there. War will be over. our mysterious badass guy who's Wyatt Russell, Corporal Ford. Some guy who we don't know much about, and another guy turns out to be a writer. We find that out later. Our Jewish guy who's, hates Nazis, and our photographer guy. And there's a whole bunch of people on there, but they kind of get introduced. Bokeem Woodbine comes in. Exposition. He is the sergeant or whatever, he's up barking out orders to everybody. What are we here to do? Their job, they need to blow up a radio tower to help protect the soldiers invading Normandy. Now we see the plane flying through, and our main guy is falling asleep, but he's woken up by explosions around the plane because they're flying through lots of explosions.
Yeah, it's starting. Shit's about to go down.
Starting to get pretty scary. And somebody stands up and the plane just gets like shot through the belly and he gets torn up.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of it's intense.
It's like, so it's like an opening fucking war movie. I'm like, oh, okay. We're fucking getting into it. Yeah, that dude got fucked up. We get some.
It really makes you feel like you're there and what it would be like to be on that plane. You know what I mean?
Yes. The intense action is starting pretty quickly. And this fucking scene from this point until it lets up, I mean, it's intense for a while now. I mean, it's a bunch of people getting shot up and blown up and, medic.
Yeah, and then it starts getting shot up more, kind of torn in half. There's an explosion. So here's another quick behind the scene. Overlord's first sequence, which sees the soldiers jumping from a burning plane, was done by rigging a plane on a gimbal, actually blowing up the front, tilting it as if they were actually falling through the air, and sending stuntmen tumbling through real fire. And one thing I learned in behind the scenes, that it was 7 days of being in that little small space for like 10 hours a day. They all basically talked about how much it sucked. They're like, it's one of those bonding things that when it's over, you're happy you did it. But at the time, it was awful.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. 7 fucking days. I mean, it's shot very well. There's a lot going on here. I guess to get coverage
a lot
for
going on here.
Yeah, that whole back end blows out, and then everyone starts fucking falling out of the plane. And then the moment that
they need to jump from the plane,
right?
Yeah, but they have to wait for like the light to turn green, so they're jumping in the right spot. Yeah,
exactly.
Actually, it's when it finally turns green that it actually gets shot like in half.
Yeah, like 2 people jump out, and then it gets blown up in half, and everyone starts falling down, and then
and they're Wyatt Russell and Bokeem Woodbine are grabbing people and tossing them out.
Fuck yeah.
And then we get this fucking awesome,
it's amazing
single shot. So it's just on Boyce in the plane, and then he gets grabbed and tossed out, and it stays on him. And he's like flipping around and then flips back and flips upside down and finally pulls his chute and gets caught. But he's so close to the ground, he's still coming with a fair amount of speed, but lands in the water.
As fucking like,
the camera, follows him in.
Bullets are flying by him. Everything's exploding
as we're
all
seeing
around
him.
We're
follow him. Yeah, you see all the chaos of the battle around him. It's fucking.
It feels
awesome.
Also like a video game too. This is why it also made me want to like. I feel like I could be playing this. Like I'm ready to get into the fight. Like it makes you feel like you're in
like
that
you just land and now you're gonna
immersiveness
start playing the game. Yeah. Oh no, this would be an amazing game.
Yeah.
Like the whole story.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. Works well. So yeah, it takes it dies in
different like big sets. The church and the house and just. There'd be so much cool stuff you could do.
So many set pieces. Yeah. A lot of fun stuff. The whole woods and everything that he lands in. Well, he lands into that.
So he lands into the water. There's like debris falling down around him. He has to cut off the parachute cords and he comes up and takes a big breath in the parachute. Gets up out of the water, goes over, leans against a tree, but starts getting shot at and takes off. And then he heads into the forest of dead friends to search for any survivors.
Yeah, there's a lot of people just hanging around. They didn't do too well.
Yeah, just corpses hanging from trees in their parachutes. Other ones that made it to the ground but died. Finds Bokeem Woodbine first, giving the Krauts flack. Before he can do anything, Wyatt Russell shows up, stops him. He's like, listen, there's nothing you can do. And then Bokeem gets shot to pieces.
Bye-bye, Bokeem.
It's a shame.
I saw that coming, but still.
Of course, as soon as you see him. Yeah.
No, yeah, he gets shot to hell up.
I'm surprised he made it to the ground.
Right. I thought he was going to die in the air, but no, he makes it down and gets shot the hell up by like a pack of Nazis.
Yeah. So Corporal Ford reminds Boyce that they have a mission to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're sneaking around. They come across Camera Guy, New York guy, and the other guy who they're walking and talking. This when we found out this other guy's a writer. And he's been working on a script. New York guy's like, oh, didn't even think you're such a hick. I didn't even know you could put letters together to spell. Ha, ha, ha. And he's like, oh, no. He was like, and, maybe I'm working on this book. Maybe we could take your photos and put them together. And
Landmine.
Blown up.
He was there 1 minute, then he wasn't.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I forget the character's name, but Boyce asks where he is, and he's like, there is no Steve, or whatever the fuck his name was. He's
right.
Like, so the first time I watched this, I remember the whole opening just taking me by such surprise. I'm figuring all these characters, like the plane will get wherever safely. We'll get to know these characters. And it kills off like half of them. And then they land and we find this group. And I'm like, all right, so these are our characters. We'll get to know these characters. And as this guy's character is like developing, he gets blown up. I was like, fucking hell, nobody's like, what is going to happen? It does a great job of keeping you on the edge of your seat, not knowing.
Yeah. Wondering what's
guessing.
actually going to happen. Yeah. Especially at this moment here. I was like, that's gnarly. That was fun. They just blew him the fuck up. But yeah, who the hell is going to make it next? And then the whole thing of when Wyatt Russell's just like, yeah, he's not there. Just walk straight to me
in a straight fucking line. Like on a rope.
Like, yeah. You'll be
tight wire.
Do it. Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And him just taking command there. Great stuff. Love it.
And then they got to poke the ground with the butt of their rifles, or not the butt, the bullet end.
Bayonet?
The bayonet. Oh, yeah, because they have bayonets on them to feel for mines as they're walking. They're like, how do you know if it's too much? He's like, you'll know.
You'll know. Because otherwise, what? You get blown up?
So they make it to the tree line. They're out of the mine area. They stop at like a river, maybe. I can't entirely remember, but they come across some sort of rotting mutant animal. Like, what the fuck is this thing?
It's weird.
This is when we get our first hint that like something might not be right around here.
Some type of jackal. One of Satan's dogs. Yeah, yeah. It's a weird looking flesh thing. Looks like a flesh dog.
Flesh dog.
Flesh dog.
That sounds like a Claudio Fragasso movie.
Flesh dog.
Boyce is walking through the woods, rifle pointed. A beautiful young French girl walks into view.
Strolling through.
Boyce says, grab her, can't let it, or Corporal says, grab her, can't let anyone know you're here. Chase ensues. Boyce catches her. She kind of gets him with the knife, but they got her. And he speaks French, tells her they won't hurt her. Boyce speaks French. She seems to hate the Nazis, so they're like, all right, take us to your village. We're here to fight Nazis, and she's into it. She takes them to her. As she's taken to their house, Boyce and Chloe stay behind while the rest of the crew goes to make sure she's telling the truth about just her aunt and little brother being in the house. Mm-hmm. While this is happening, a neighbor is alerted to their presence, and Boyce hides while the neighbor snitches on Chloe for being out after
big old
curfew.
Snitch. Jesus Christ.
Turns her into the Nazis. I know.
What a terrible lady.
Yeah, I hope you get Nazi'd. Not really.
Yeah. All right. But like, yeah, come on. Like, why do this?
Not cool. Exactly. Whose side are you on?
You shouldn't be out. I'll tell the captain. Come on. There's no need. Whatever. You're dumb.
So Boyce is watching Chloe go over to the soldiers. They're giving her shit, going through her bag, not being cool. But then some sort of captain looking fella comes over and berates them for giving her a hard time, gives her her bag back, and sends her on her way. Now Boyce is sneaking around through it's almost like a foxhole or some sort of trench.
Yeah, a trench.
In the middle of this town that's been made. Mm-hmm. And so he's running through that, makes his way around to the house that's Chloe's house.
Trench foot.
And he meets the boys outside. Chloe arrives. She speaks English. Yeah. Who knew? We just find this out here. And she lets them all inside. In the house, she has an ominous sick aunt in a closed room, and a curious 4-year-old brother. They go to the attic to come up with a plan. The compound at the end of the village is where the towers are that they need to take down, the church. Keep referring to it as a church. We see the church. We never see anything once we're there that seems church-like. Although I guess the Nazis pulled everything out because we saw that pile of burning crosses and shit on the way in.
Yeah, they don't want no church shit in their shit.
We see outside, there's like a couple brought outside, and the Nazi captain that we saw before executes a woman in the street, and the Nazis take her, presumably husband, off in a car. This is when we learn Boyce is so caring that he couldn't kill a mouse on base. Because he's just not cut whatever it takes. And they're like, oh, you will? Remember the mouse?
Caused the whole squad or whatever because it came back. He let the mouse go in a field, came back the next night, shat all over the sergeant's pillow, and they were running up the hill
uphill
all night
or
some
something.
shit both ways in the cold.
Exactly.
And this is all from New York guy. Hey, fucking A, I'm in New York. I'm a hard ass. Fuck this kid. Get out of here.
Yeah, what's happening? Who do you think you are, Stan Musial?
What's this fucking kid doing? What's he trying to do? It's all just like clicks and clacks.
Put a
I don't
leash on
understand
this fucking kid.
What are you fucking doing? He wants to play baseball. He thinks all Americans play baseball. Give him a fucking cue and a $5 bill, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, exactly. I'm from New York.
Fucking New York. I don't like kids. Fuck out of here.
Now, Russell sends New York guy and camera guy to see if anyone made it to the rally point. Boyce goes downstairs when he stops outside the aunt's bedroom and gets a glimpse of some sort of mutant monster lady.
Oh, yeah. Auntie's not doing well.
No, she's real bad. Worse than we expected.
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting
like
that.
boils and yeah.
I mean, this has
tumors.
Big, I mean, to put it in other context, Resident Evil vibes, which I mean is very Nazi zombie-ish type of feel to it anyway. But yeah, it certainly looks like something like Resident Evil, this weird human bulbous tumorous looking creature.
When Chloe appears and is like, I told you she's sick. What are you doing?
It's like, that's more than just sick. That's not like sick. That's something else besides just sick.
Apparently that's what she's been like since the Nazis took her to the church. She doesn't know what happened. Just came back like that.
She got a cold.
Nazi cold.
Chloe. She actually does have a cold. She's always looked like that. Yeah.
Chloe takes Boyce to the kitchen, dresses his wound. We get some character development here. These two seem to be bonding.
Yes. He smells the baseball. He bonds with the kid. Speaks a little French. Haitian French.
Yeah, he learned it from his grandma.
He's in Louisiana. I don't know Louisiana, as she says. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Louisiana.
1940. Why would you? Why would you really know it?
So, Nazi cars pulling up. Boyce Corporal and kid brother hide in the attic. Captain shows up at Chloe's door. He acts like they're in a relationship or something, but she clearly hates him. And he does the good job of being sort of like the friendly Nazi. Like he's trying to seem nice, but there's something threatening about him the whole time.
It always has that Nazi undertone. I mean,
yeah.
Which must be like such an interesting, to be an actor and have the opportunity to play a Nazi like this, like type of thing must be something interesting. I don't know if that's something that's like
role in particular. So when I acted, which was like a kid, I'm not trying to sound like an actor here, but I did go to a performing arts high school, and when I got the opportunity to be bad characters, it didn't happen much, but I really loved it. I was always excited to be a bad guy, and his role in particular seems like it'd be a lot of fun doing the Nazi part, but then everything
where he gets to go
would be like, oh man, that seems like as an actor it would appeal to me personally. Right.
Finding that
I am an actor again.
Right. Finding that perfect that fine balance of the menacing undertone that's always there. You always feel it, no matter how nice they are. Just to be able to nail that as an actor,
if he's like, okay, and smiles, it's still like,
yeah, I don't know. No. But yeah, this whole scene is a fucking.
It's actually really cool thing from the acting perspective, because you can tell he's playing nice. He's a bad guy playing at being nice.
Mm-hmm.
So as an actor, it's like you got to be a bad guy and then act like you're not a bad guy, kind of.
Yeah, it's the bad guy.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, it's the bad guy also acting like he's he seems to act like this is his house, this is his home. He's like, why isn't the rabbit on? Like, ha ha ha. Yeah. Comes in, like flips his collar up, like expecting her to like
take off,
undo whatever the fuck his Nazi shit,
metal, or, whatever it is around his neck. So seems like he's been coming regularly to rape her, but she's not pretending to be willing tonight. So not like it seems like in the past it wouldn't be violent per se, like she would not fight back, but it's still he comes there to rape her.
Exactly.
And she's clearly 100% doing that to like protect her family.
Upon her. Yes. It's protect her family and herself, I'm sure. From
exactly
the experiments, like they all know you get taken off into the church. She has an aunt. It happened to the aunt.
Yep. Exactly. And Boyce and Wyatt Russell are upstairs peeking through the cracks in the floor, all this go down.
Crack peeking.
Yeah, Boyce seems to want to help, but Wyatt Russell keeps telling him not to. Because she's not willing, he calls in the other Nazis from outside. Oh no, he hears the noise upstairs, so he calls them in to go up there.
Yeah, he's like, where's the kid been or whatever? And she's like, he's up sleeping, and then the noise happens.
He sleeps in the attic.
Yeah.
And so he sends them up there. When they start approaching the stairs, the kid stands at the top of the stairs and like rolls a baseball to him. Nazi picks it up, Haktua spits on that thing, and then throws it back to the kid, I think.
Were you waiting to do that? Get a nice
Haktua. Actually, I didn't think of it till
in the moment
as I was saying it. Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious because I think on
because I was going to make the noise and then I was like, why do that when we have such a pop culture moment?
And spit on that thing.
It's just on the voice mod like soundboard for whatever reason. I guess it got added in, But yep, I noticed that recently.
I didn't expect you to have gotten it.
I did not get it.
Wow, you got that quick. Yeah,
I'm on it. I'm real good like that. Yeah, no, it gives him the little spitball, throws it back. Yeah,
throws the ball back, Nazi. And then they go downstairs, and with them there, the captain threatens, should we take your brother back to the church, or should I stay? And then he leans in for the answer, and she whispers, stay. So he dismisses them, and I guess they just totally take off. They're not hanging out, standing guard or anything. He starts forcing himself on her, puts her on a table, starts to go down on her, which is a choice, not something I was expecting. Maybe it was just to get this cool shot of Boyce coming up and putting the rifle to the back of his head.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what happens. He could watch no longer, and they take him hostage. And they're going to like get a sack and tie him up. Boyce leaves to get the guys who left before, New York guy and camera guy, and comes across a Chuddle factory where a bunch of Chuddles get flamethrowed.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. You jumped from that because there's the whole part where they're beating him before he goes away, right? Where's the Chuddle factory? What do you mean the Chuddle factory?
No, they don't beat him yet. So this is when he's trying to sneak off to go get the other two guys, because they beat him once they come back from the church. After Boyce goes in there initially. Sure. So this is, he's supposed to go meet up with them, I think, and be like, all right, let's come back. So he's sneaking by like the back entrance there that's guarded, and he sees a wagon of mutant people that are unloaded, and then
I got my timelines mixed
thrown
up.
Flame upon.
I remember the Chuddle flame throwage.
Yes. So Chuddles, if you're not
is
aware, a term of ours that is when there are creatures that ask to be killed. That's a Chuddle.
They're usually highly disfigured, not doing too well, kind of I don't like calling these people pathetic because they're the byproduct of Nazis, but most turtles we've found have been pretty pathetic creatures.
That's true. Not necessarily pathetic.
Exactly, but they're funniest when they're like a weird blobby thing, a goo pile of a human that's begging for death. That's our ideal turtle.
Nonetheless, this is a turtle factory.
Nonetheless, they're churning out turtles here.
They sure are. So he goes to sneak around some more. He hides from a truck that goes by, and a dog comes up behind him. So he takes off and jumps into the back of the truck, and surprise, corpse truck.
Corpse truck. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Riding with a bunch of corpses, peeks out the thing. Oh shit, he's just accidentally going into the compound right now.
Behind the lines.
You cannot get out.
I do like the random dog. I don't know. Maybe Nazis had random dogs just walking around. It seems like just a dog would be around. With.
It seemed a person.
Yeah. So I'm like, where's the Nazi to go with this dog? But
totally.
That's fine. Patrol
Nazi
dogs.
Dog. Yeah.
They're crazy like that.
So yeah, maybe they're trained just to go out on their own. Don't have enough bodies. Don't have enough Nazis. He hides underneath some of the corpses before it goes underground, parks. He sneaks out, starts sneaking around. All of this underground set was built for the movie. It's what they spent most of the money on. And it looks really good and lived in and awesome. And it was also made for the most part interconnectedly so they could have all these tracking shots, but also do it in strange ways so you never feel like you know exactly where you are or what's around the corner or behind a closed door.
I can see it. I love all the sets in this movie. I think they're all real nice set pieces.
The French town, the French village was also a set, but less intensive to make.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly outside and facades.
All facades, for sure.
He sees a wall with 3 holes. And you're like, what's with this?
He doesn't know how to use the 3 holes.
Is this a glory hole? He doesn't know how to use the holes. Yeah. So he peeks in one and sees a guy kind of freaking out, but he's alone. Then Nazis start coming, so he hides. They do something to the guy in that room, and when he peeks back in, he doesn't see anything. Some sort of monster mutant eye thing pops in, and he goes, moves on. Then he comes into this room where he finds some sort of tar and these icky goo sacks hanging around the room with people in them.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird goo shit. It's just all this weird laboratory, that kind of weird experimental really, Nazi shit.
Dank and old looking.
Yeah.
One of the things in the behind the scenes is they tried to make the inspiration for this area that it went way back to I forget what they said, originally it was a Gaelic cemetery or something, and then over the generations whoever was in control of the area would build upon it and build upon it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be hundreds of years old and has that look to it, except for hundreds of years old if the Nazis came in and set it up as a lab.
Right. It looks like Nazified old shit. It's real weird, but no, it's super cool. Yeah, the people in the body bags with all this black brownish goo
kind of
around.
Zips one and
that
someone
dude
kind of falls out with something in their mouth.
It's like the Matrix, but grosser. Way grosser. It's a way grosser Matrix.
Matrix isn't particularly not gross either.
Exactly.
But this one, he finds the syringe of red liquid, the soldier's serum, I guess, as we will find out. And he decides to take it with him. He puts it in his cargo pocket. I'm like, ugh!
Exactly.
It terrified me.
It's an open needle.
How are you not? Yes.
It is.
Are you worried about getting poked? But I guess he's not. He doesn't get poked, so it works out.
No, but this is when he finds some sweet shit.
He finds a talking head on a spine.
Yep. He hears a woman calling out in French. And then he goes by and pulls the curtain, and there's literally just a woman's head, suspended. Her spine's there. She needs help.
And she's talking. So
she can't help her.
Behind the scenes, she's saying in French, "Arrête, s'il vous plaît," which is "stop, please." Is what she is saying there.
Stop, please. Sure. Makes sense.
Totally.
I wonder,
now
I guess she's alive. I mean, she's definitely alive, but like how much of her mind is still really there? Because she's just repeating the same thing over. So is she like a zombified? Like how much zombification is it doing to the brain as well? Does that make sense? Like, you know how zombies are dumb?
Yeah, totally.
And only like,
well, it seems to me like if anything, the brain is the only thing it keeps going, because as we see later, there's like so strong and immune to pain and all these different things that like, and it doesn't seem to matter how much you get shot. Like it just sort of like supercharges the brain to be that's the only thing keeping everything going.
Brain
somehow.
power. It's all about the brain, baby. Read more books.
That's right. That's the message of the movie ultimately.
I got it.
Then Boyce finds Rosenberg, the Jewish friend from the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
And he's strapped to a table with like some mask on and some sort of big weird pipe thing that looks like it's connected into his side.
It's sewed into his side.
Yeah, right.
I noticed it. Yeah. Well, I noticed on the second time around when he pulls it out of
looks
there.
like kind of puckered or
Yeah. So it's like this weird, like, I don't know,
Eventually
6-inch
once he pulls
circumference
it out,
too,
it
but it
looks
like
like
has a
it's-
big needle in
yeah.
it. But as he's pulling it out, you can see all around the circumference of it, it's pulling out threads from
okay
him as
you know,
well.
I
So
didn't
it was
notice
sewn into his torso.
Oof.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So that's dope. So he gets them out of that situation and they start trying to escape, and it leads them to, I think, the tunnel that he breaks
Now they're
out.
sneaking around. They find the drainage system and get out that way.
Yeah.
The people coming, you know, they got to kick like a grate off and they get in and close it and lead their way out. Meanwhile, New Yorker guy and camera guy make it back to the house. And the little boy and the New Yorker guy are bonding a little more here. I think this is when the kid starts like copying
He's
some of the
mimicking
things he
gum.
does. Yeah.
Sits
and
next
he
to him,
gives
puts his
the
helmet
gum,
on.
I think.
They start
And,
chewing gum, and he like crosses his arms, so the kid crosses his arms, and yeah, it's a fun little moment.
Yeah, it's nice.
And the New Yorker guy doesn't mind as much this time around.
Right, yeah, he's starting to like be like, look at this little
whatever,
rapscallion kid. The Nazi captain is tied up with a sack on his head, and they're all upstairs, and suddenly from downstairs you hear Boyce arrive, and he's like, help. So they come, they're taking care of Rosenberg. Boyce shows the corporal the syringe that he took. The corporal's like, what happened? He's like, truck, dead bodies. But he's like, well, slow down. Like, what's going on?
I saw a head and there was no body. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So he shows Wyatt Russell the syringe, and they go to the Nazi captain for answers. While they're interrogating him, Chloe gets mad and runs up and stabs him in the leg. So they're like, get her out of here.
It's like, what the hell is this shit? I thought they were gonna like try to
inject him with it.
Yeah, and scare him into telling him what it was. But no.
Well, why don't we find out by putting it in you?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Now the corporal starts beating Nazi captain for answers. He grabs his brass knuckled Bowie knife thing, and they like raise him up by his wrist, so he's kind of hanging, and he's just laying into him.
Beat that nuts.
Boyce gets squeamish about it, tries to speak up, but now he gets punched and he's ordered to stay out of it. So now Boyce is in the kitchen with Chloe. They bond for a minute, basically talk about, man, war totally changed our lives. What are we going to do after this? The troops are all together making a battle plan. They send photographer fella up to the Nazi captain to bring him down. And somehow this bound man with a bag on his head manages to trip our photographer, take his gun, shoot him twice.
Yeah.
Again, especially the first time, or obviously the first time because I didn't know. Unexpected. Didn't see this part coming.
Oh, I totally. It was like, this is a Nazi. He's playing tricks. He's gonna fucking this dude's gonna get it now.
Something
right
would happen, but there's something about the way he's just like pop and dropped. I was like, oh fuck.
Sure. Fucking hits him right in the sternum. That's the fucking shot right there.
Blindly shooting around, but they managed to get in and subdue him. Camera fella, they're trying to save him, but it looks bad. It looks good prosthetic wise, like it looks amazing, but they pull open his shirt, he's got 2 holes that are just pumping blood, and they know he's gonna die, and he does.
He ain't doing it. Like, where's my camera?
Yep, exactly.
After that, he kicks the old bucket, as they say.
Boyce decides to take that Nazi serum he took and stick it in him.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Doesn't seem to do anything, so they start getting ready to go. And all of a sudden he pops up. He's like breathing really fast and feels really good. Doesn't even hurt.
A little thirsty.
He's thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needs a little drink.
Chugs some water and accidentally crushes the canteen with his hand.
Yeah.
And then, he had poked at the wounds in his chest when he said it didn't even hurt.
Fingers it a little bit. He's like, yeah, it doesn't even hurt.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah. Gross.
At that point, everyone's like, this is even more weird. It's getting weirder.
They ask him if he can stand, and he can, and he seems to be doing well, but then his veins start wigging out all over his body.
He gets wiggy veins.
His head really hurts, and he bashes his head into a pillar. He's hot. He's taking off his clothes, and his head hurts, and then he throws his head back, and I guess he's so strong that he breaks his spine when he does it, and his head's just hanging on backwards.
It's gnarly.
He's kind of like, oh, and then, and you see like collar bones sticking up and out of like his neck area. It's super fucking gnarly.
It's gnarly. It's fun.
And then he pops back over and his head kind of flops there, and you see how it's like broken in the back under the skin, and all under the skin you see all the broken bones. It's rad.
So he starts freaking nonetheless. He keeps freaking.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to like get to him and calm him down or something, but
yeah, he
strong.
starts yelling at Boyce, "What'd you do to me?" Which there's a little logic fail, is he was dead, so he wouldn't have known that Boyce got him with the serum.
Oh, sure.
But to be fair, I didn't think about that till like, I guess, my third total watch of the movie.
Yeah, did not occur to me.
They did the head snapping back and all that was like a puppetry and animatronics. I saw in behind the scenes, it's like this gnarly looking head because it's frozen in that screaming face, and it's like held there by a stick, and all of a sudden they snap it back and you see like the throat and everything. It's pretty cool. And so like with that one, they built it all practically and had people manipulate it and then just cut them out, So, and a funny thing, that actor in the behind the scenes talked about how he had to pee so bad because he's wearing this like prosthetic and it's hooked up to wires to pump the blood or, tubes, so he can't take a bathroom break, but he has to keep chugging all this water for all the takes. So finally, when it was done, he was like, just get me undone. I got to go. And he ran to the bathroom and was at a urinal, I think is the way he said it, because he's like Scottish or something, the actual actor. So he's just going, and he didn't realize that like the tubes like were still kind of hanging off and had blood on him. So as he's peeing, all this blood is splashing into the urinal, and then somebody just like walked in and saw him like peeing out all his blood in the urinal. He was like, oh god. And he was like, he goes, it would have been too long to explain anything, so he just looked at him and said, I'm sick. Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be like, rough it was rough day on set. Right. Yeah, but still alluding to the fact that it was all just real blood coming out of that. That's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun little behind the scenes. So now he starts running at somebody, but Corporal shoots up his chest and he falls to the ground. He gets up again, starts coming after somebody, but Boyce beats the shit out of his skull with the butt of his rifle. We don't see it. We hear it. It sounds gross. And then we see the aftermath of it. And
we see him.
They look like he carved out his brain.
We see like at least, I think, maybe one smash or two. Yeah, one smash or two. But yeah, no, it's gooey.
Yeah.
He got in there.
While all this is going on, the Nazi captain sneaks out.
Fucking Nazi.
Yeah. Then they try and get him. We get a firefight. Nazi captain seems to catch some bullets before he gets away. We don't see what they were. He also had snatched Chloe's little brother, Paul, and took him with him. Fucking Nazis.
They do.
So they have a new plan. It takes some convincing for the Corporal Ford, but they're going to go and set explosives underground. Tower will still be destroyed. They'll also be able to destroy the labs and get Paul. I forget, the New York guy's like, look at getting the kid as a bonus. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, man.
Because Ford is like, no, let's just go blow up the tower. That's our job. Like,
yeah.
Boyce is like, it's our fault that the kid got taken. We should try and get him. And he wanted to blow up the underground labs anyway. So Nazi captain bursts into the lab. He's back. We don't really see him. He's just stumbling around, and he injects himself with the serum. We finally see him in a dramatic turnaround, and basically half of his face was blown off. He got shot.
Oh, yeah. He got shot in the face.
Yeah. It took 5 hours each day to apply the face makeup for his disfigured, mutated face. And most of that is all practical, except for kind of inside how it looks cavernous.
Sure.
That's CGI.
Added effects. So, no, it looks great. That's awesome.
It's funny
effect.
to see in the behind the scenes him on set, like talking to Boyce, and they're like laughing while he's just looking like that. Like, yeah, clearly,
half
you know,
of his face
they're
is blown
actors
away.
on set, they're friends, but after watching them, you know, battle each other, and he looks so gnarly, just to see him like joking with each other is fun.
Hell yeah, man. Those are the fun ones too. Like, if I don't suggest, I don't endorse smoking cigarettes, but if like the actors smoke cigarettes while they're in like the big makeup stuff is always like a funny, interesting picture to see.
Yeah.
Smoke a joint, man. If he's just smoking a
If
joint.
you're gonna smoke a joint.
Yeah, there we go.
They have a new plan. We kind of hear a little bit of it, that New Yorker and Rosenberg are going to set down suppressive fire, and then the other people are sneaking in. But now we see Chloe seeming like she's trying to trick the Nazis into chasing her. We haven't heard this part of the plan, but they do, and one of them on a motorcycle that has like a little sidecar chases her onto a bridge. She lets herself be caught, and then they catch the Nazi. Next thing we know, we see him driving on his motorcycle up to the entrance of the compound.
Oh, yeah.
And we see he's taped to it and tape over his mouth, and they like let him in, and he's like, and they're trying to take the tape off his mouth. He's like, no, don't take it off. Don't take it off.
Keeps wiggling his head. No,
wiggling
like,
his
no,
head.
no, and like nodding
Looking
towards
down
the
at the
sidecar.
sidecar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, they rip the tape off. Ka-chunk! A grenade's in his mouth. They pulled the pin, and that makes them finally look what's under like the
sidecar thing.
Yeah,
and it's just full of explosives.
Yeah, burning.
Yeah,
and then we see his head explode, or then we get a real cool like sort of pan in on his head or something of his face, and he's just looking like terrified. It looks
as you would if you
cool.
just had a grenade pin pulled that is jammed into your mouth.
That Nazi henchman was a great performer, I thought, and all the stuff he did.
Oh yeah,
but
it was really good.
Then
really
we get hit. We do quickly see his head explode before all the explosives go off, and it's rad.
Good stuff there. Good Nazi head explosion. A bunch of them explode and get like hit with all shrapnel and all this shit.
They're like missing limbs Nazis already.
Burst out like the fucking inside. They get all shot up by the
they burst out the front doors, and New Yorker and Rosenberg are up top laying down suppressive fire. One's got more of like a sniper rifle. The other one has, I don't know what you would call that, like a railgun type
machine
of thing. Machine gun. Yeah, it's everything's like on a belt that you feed into it. And they are lighting those Nazis up. They get a couple waves and they take care of them.
They get them Nazis.
One of the difficulties they had with this movie is they used all real guns from the era.
Nazis killed them all.
And they had to have at least 3 guns for each one to make sure they always had one that worked, because they were firing blanks from them. But it's hard to find 3 guns from that era that all look the same and that you can get to work consistently. So that was a real challenge for the folks who handled that part of the movie.
The gun folks. Sure. Makes sense. Yeah.
But that day, that belt gun, whatever it is, worked for 20 takes without a problem. The gun guy was very happy about it.
We scoffed at that IMDb trivia earlier about all the gun trivia. And now here we are. Whatever this gun was.
Some kind of gun with bullets.
It's a light machine gun of sorts. I don't know the exact model, but...
All right. So Boyce, Chloe, and Ford are now sneaking in through that side entrance that Boyce had escaped out of before, the water overflow, whatever it is.
Overflow.
Chloe splits off to find her. They get in. Chloe splits off to find her brother. Boyce and Ford are going to set explosive. Chloe finds 2 Nazis, asks where her brother is. They're like, what are you going to do? She shoots one in the head, asks where her brother is again. It's pretty rad. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Boyce and Ford now split up to set charges in different areas. Chloe has that Nazi leader to a room that he says her brother is in. She kind of peeks in, sees half a corpse. Now it seems like the Nazis got the drop on her, but Boyce saves her. And as they run away, the Nazi that Boyce knocked out gets sucked off screen into that room that had half a corpse.
He sure did. Good catch.
Yes. Then we see a cut from that room.
For anyone that doesn't know, Sam likes to get sucked off screen as well.
Don't we all? So say we all.
I have that drop somewhere. It's funny how
It's
drops
fine.
of ours over time have I know.
Yeah,
I know you don't want
like
it to be
gone
played, but have just
further
like
down the timeline. Yeah.
exactly moved away from something that was so prevalent.
So we get a shot of like a weird mutant kind of standing up and stretching, looking greasy and balding and gross. And it sort of spits out some flesh and blood. And that's what was in that room.
Yeah.
We're back to New Yorker and Rosenberg. They're retreating. They're starting to move back and luring the Nazis to chase them as they do this. Chloe and Boyce find Paul, her brother, and Boyce is going to stay to set charges while Chloe and her brother escape. Just as they sneak into the overflow tunnel, Chloe is pulled back in by that weird mutant Nazi that we just talked about.
Oh, no.
And she starts shooting at him while Paul escapes. Then they kind of fight. He's missing part of his arm. It's just bone sticking out. And he tries to like punch her with it, but it just like cracks the wall behind her. So he is almost entirely practical effects, except he's wearing like a green glove on that where his arm's missing.
He's missing a hand. Yeah. Arm.
But it's all prosthetics, that took a long ass time.
Yeah, it's freaky looking. Good job.
That was something they really worked hard on. They have like a whole backstory for him. They called him the Mistake. They tried to make all his wounds somehow be applicable for like testing. Like there's a head opening and maybe they cut off his arm so they could try and regrow it, and maybe they opened up his chest to test healing on these things, and his whole look was developed from them thinking about Nazis testing on him.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could see it totally if you looked for those things specifically.
Right, if you were thinking about it.
Kind of just looks like
Otherwise,
if it's
just
Jason
fun.
Voorhees' brother.
Yeah, totally. Good way to put it.
Got the Nazi version. Nazi Voorhees.
She shot him in the head a couple times. I like when she puts it under his chin. You can see the glow of the flash through his cheeks.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Really cool.
Nice touch.
Fucking pops it off.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop him.
No, it does not. She takes off, but he gets up and chases her again. As she's running away, she comes across a flamethrower, and she must have grabbed it because as he's running after her, and his weird little body mutant acting I thought was really good too. His twitching and stuff.
His jittery run kind of stuff. It's zombie-esque. Again,
yes.
They're all kind of have that like hyper zombie-esque type of thing going on, but maybe a little bit more intelligence or something behind it.
But she sets that bitch on fire. With the flamethrower.
She sure does. She gets the fucking,
rad.
she finds the weapon and sets it up. Like this would be a fun level to play. Running through, you're getting chased, and then you find the flamethrower and you get to torch the thing. That's fun.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of variation to
what the serum does to certain peoples and reactions.
And I think there's obviously been lots of versions of the serum. Like what we saw to past people is not what we're seeing to people now. Like ant, I don't think got whatever this one is.
Well, I guess maybe because he freaked out, but the soldier that what's his name who died, the cameraman, that seemed like the same serum more or less, probably, that maybe it wasn't, that the Commander Nazi dude takes.
Yeah, I think why
is his reaction so bad? Maybe because he freaked out, and since he's so strong, he doesn't know his own body, and he just kept freaking out and going crazy.
Right, kept breaking more pieces of him by like
just losing his goddamn mind.
Yeah, could be.
I guess could be it, and he would have been.
Honestly, I was just like, I guess our villain is such a specimen, he can handle it.
Right, and I think that's definitely could be part of it. That's at least what he definitely thinks. I think he mentioned something, Nazi bullshit about it.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies. I think this is when Wyatt Russell and him
Oh, the
meet up and fight.
flamethrower. Yeah, so
Right
Corporal
after that,
sets a charge when the Nazi captain appears behind him. He throws the corporal across the room and takes the charge out and breaks it. Boyce is now in the goo bag room setting charges when Nazi scientist sneaks up behind him and puts a gun to the back of his head. Meanwhile, Nazi captain is now beating the corporal, saying some Nazi shit, getting his sort of revenge. It's a reverse from before. For 1,000-year army, you need 1,000-year soldier, or whatever. That's what all this is for.
Mm-hmm.
So now Boyce fights the scientist, ends up stabbing him with a scalpel, and New Yorker and Rosenberg are back in the village having a firefight with Nazis when Paul runs right into the middle of it. Kind of is by a car, and New Yorker, they've bonded now, gets up, runs out, pulls him down behind the car, and then Rosenberg starts putting down suppressive fire when he carries the kid back to cover. But just as he passes the kid back over the wall, he gets shot in the back and he falls down. But, behind cover. Then Chloe pops in. She's back now, and she's got a badass gun and shoots the remaining Jerrys. So they're safe now. There's no more Nazis to shoot. And New Yorker, we don't know what's happened to him yet. Nazi captain beating corporal some more, not more Nazi, yada yada. We see like a big meat hook thing. We've seen meat hook scenes before, but not like this one, because
this is a fucking
sticks it
bravo
in his stomach and hangs him by his rib cage. From under his rib cage.
Yep,
like just under his sternum is where it comes in. It is
brilliant.
Whew.
Brilliant.
Brutal.
When I saw that meat hook, I was like, oh, okay, I've seen a meat hook before, and then we do this, and I'm like, oh, good
I've
job.
not seen it that way. Then he gives just like
I'm sure
one
there's
little
something
pull
out
of the
there where
chain
we
to
see
pull
it,
him
but
up, and he's like,
this was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
That feels so different than like you feel it when like Leatherface meat hooks someone
Absolutely.
in the back. You feel that, but you all feeling that
like of hanging from underneath your rib cage.
Just imagining, just like what your rib cage. I don't know. You just it's so imaginative.
Doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel like it would feel good at all.
Can't imagine that feels good. So now Boyce tries to save him, but he gets tossed around and thrown through a window into another room. Captain sort of turns his attention to Boyce, and somehow our badass fucking Wyatt Russell is able to pull himself off the hook, which, great. Glad he did it. He's also a specimen. He falls to the ground with a thunk and grabs some serum and injects himself.
Yeah, this man is making a career on serum power-ups, right? I mean, we got this. Isn't he serum powered up and as whatever replacement
of Captain America's replacement and
what the fuck?
Winter
I can't
Soldier
think
show.
of yeah, right. All that stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Yeah,
I can't remember, but yeah, for sure. Just into that World War II soldier serum. So he's turned his attention to Boyce, and he pulls himself off, injects himself. Captain starts drowning Boyce in this like tub full of body parts.
Yeah.
And Corporal shows up behind him and sticks a big old pipe through him and impales him on a giant broken pipe. This gives them enough time to step away as he pulls the pipe out from in him. And now Wyatt Russell and Nazi Captain start having a super soldier mutant fight.
Great. Love it. I'm glad I went here. Exactly what I wanted.
Totally. They're getting tossed around. They're fighting. Meanwhile, again, the whole time the Nazi captain has his face blown out and is just looking crazy.
It's fucking awesome. It's so good. I assume you have, and I think I do, some level of your zombie blindness to his gore?
No, I don't. Not for him. I don't know why. Maybe because he still looks human otherwise. Nazis usually maybe are or zombies are paler. They don't. There's something about them where
so human.
Yeah,
I guess he still seems to be pretty human and everything. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I was wondering about that because this is them fighting, and there's a lot of blood within this scene, but he's been consistently face blown. But it's still, it's really gnarly. It looks great.
Yeah, it's a great villain look. So they have their fight. Captain seems to have the upper hand. Ford's on the floor when he rolls a tank of some sort of compressed gas to the Nazi captain's feet, looks at Boyce, says Boyce, and Boyce shoots it, and a big explosion. Captain falls into the tar hole. They kind of get exploded too, but not so bad. They're okay. They go to leave, and Corporal pushes him out, locks the room. He's got to stay down there. You got to go up, make sure the explosions go off. We can't let even our side get a hold of this serum. It's fucked, so I got to stay.
Yeah, and I loved his fucking look. Like his under his eyes are starting to get red. He's looking starting to get zombified looking.
Yeah, starting looking worse for sure.
It's dope.
This is when the captain slowly climbs out of the tar.
And there's like other like super soldiers like waking up or some shit.
Coming out. They're slowly all approaching him.
He comes real gooey out of the pit, the tar pit.
Real gooey because it's like melted some of his flesh off too, I think.
He got pounded a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I guess he was exploded. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
like I think a piece of his scalp is missing. Like it's real gnarly. It's cool. I'm gonna keep applauding the effects on this one
because Boyce is
gnarly and fun.
Yeah, they are. Or not Boyce. Corporal Ford Wyatt Russell is standing there. He's lit some big explosive, and when he told the tar-covered guy, I don't think I'm going to need your lighter anymore, I thought he was going to toss it at him because if he was covered in tar, he'd set on fire and then we'd get the explosion. But we just get the explosion, and it's a big one. It takes them all out. The Nazi soldiers waking up. Boyce goes, he sets the charges and starts running out, and while he's running, the building is exploding all around him, and this is another cool one-shot tracking thing where we're just following him through the hallways as there's explosions behind him, next to him, everywhere.
Walls blowing up, shit falling down, running one way, turning around, having to run the other way, and shit's just going crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Agreed.
All great job, and he's fucking acting the hell out of it. Look at like
he is such a good actor. To maintain that level of
panic and just like going through this is fucking killer.
And it's cool because he never tries to. It's not like it turns around in the end and he's like suddenly some badass. I mean, he does things, but he still seems scared and like he's just doing stuff. Even though he's scared, he has to do it, which is
right. He is badass by what he goes through, but he's not like the Wyatt Russell character badassery.
Exactly. Totally calm
and like cool. I knew Wyatt Russell was going to die based on how we saw the characters progressing earlier in the film, whatever.
They're foils. Yeah,
exactly. But I was like, I'm super happy with the way they took him out.
If you want to get into this movie being about something, it's kind of about how war breaks people or changes people, and they talk about it a few times. You can't go back. Like what is there to go back to? And Wyatt Russell ends up literally not being able to go back, and the whole villain in the movie literally changes people. So
right,
it's got that going on. But Boyce makes it out. As he's running, you see as he runs out of the tunnel and through the fence, you see the church collapse behind him, and a final like dust wave knocks him to the ground, but we presume he made it. Now we are back in the village, and all the villagers are coming out to look at, oh shit, that just exploded. And we see Boyce, dust covered, slowly sauntering in.
Oh yeah, the hero shot.
He walks into town. That we see New Yorker guys alive. And
I was happy to see that. I grew fond of him. I knew the arc it was going to take with him and the kid.
Of course.
I just loved
it's still awesome.
Yeah.
Now it kind of, must jump forward a little bit because we see planes overhead. 10 Allied troops seem to have taken the village. Boyce is getting interviewed by the brass. Why'd you do it underground? Oh, it was Ford's idea because he thought since we had such little people, it'd be easier. Oh, hey, we heard rumors of a lab down there. Did you see anything? Nope, definitely didn't see anything like that. And now he goes to the tent where his friends are recovering. New Yorker guy's playing cards with the kid. And he's like, yeah, we've been folded into a Charlie company. And they're like, they're not going to send us home after this? They're like, hey, we got a war to win. And he's like, we got to get you to Hitler. And he's like, yeah, that's right. Just one shot and the war's over. Send us all home.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. End of the movie. They're still
Is that
going.
the last line of the movie? Because that's also, if it is, that's the first line of the movie too. That's the first thing that happens.
I did not realize that. How fun.
It starts with him saying that. Yeah.
Oh,
the way this
now.
movie bookends like that too, because then you think about, he starts by saying that, and then right after we get essentially our one shot of him falling down.
Mm-hmm.
Before this, we get our one shot of him coming out, and then it goes to him saying that. The way the book ends on here, I appreciated.
Very cool.
It's fun. It felt
That's great. I did not know that.
Well contained, and now we can go watch Saving Private Ryan.
We sure can. Why don't we go
dear
do
God.
that and come right back to keep talking about this?
Yeah. We're gonna go do that. Yeah. I
Did you have
nothing
any
else
final
really
thoughts?
to say? No, I didn't. There's no mid credit or post, is there?
I don't believe so. I didn't see anything in the behind the scenes, and I honestly didn't wait to look. But no, I think if anything, my final thoughts I kind of touched on right before we wrapped up is, even though this is just a fun, slick action horror movie, there is some depth to it if you want it. There's stuff to think about. It's not about anything. I feel like they treat even though it goes off the rails in this sci-fi horror Nazi thing, they treat what soldiers went through in World War II, I think, with a lot of respect. They try and put you into it and don't, even though it's a fun movie, they don't make it seem like it was fun to be there.
Certainly. Sure. The horrors of war seem to be a real thing for these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that whole opening scene feels heavy.
Yeah.
It has that moments of it within all the intense action and everything. Great. Saving Private Ryan?
Let's do it. Why did we do that?
I don't know.
Maybe Overlord and Saving Private Ryan isn't the best double feature because
it's heavy. It seems like it.
I kind of have hope now, but I'm also like crushed.
Yeah. I feel like it needed to be the other way around somehow. You need to end on an Overlord.
All those
note.
actors look so young now, though,
Wild.
Yeah, maybe do it in reverse. Just
Somehow.
be like, and this is what happened right before.
Yeah. You see all that
Just think
bad
of it as
shit?
a
This is what
prequel.
they had to do right before to get you there. There you go. That's the order to watch it in.
So this is why I said it didn't seem like it worked. So when Boyce is walking into the village at the end, the radio, it sounds like they're saying like, and we're invading Normandy, blah, 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 on the radio.
Sure.
It seems like and they just blew up the church. So they wouldn't have made it like in time, really, if it was happening simultaneously.
Sure. I forget what the towers were doing. I mean, yeah, I forget.
But it could just be a report. Today's the day. I guess they wouldn't
And I know this was
have known about it.
one of many towers.
The news.
I think.
Sure.
I assume so. Maybe it was region thing. Like it needed to be knocked out with everything else. No idea.
I was a little confused on why the tower needed to be knocked out. Something to do with the Air Force would be able to defend the ground if the towers were knocked out, maybe?
I think it probably maybe
I
had
wasn't
something
sure.
to do with radio. Probably communications.
Seems like it seems important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a radio tower,
Like the
would be
importance of
helpful to
radio
take out.
tower.
but why in this instance? Couldn't tell you.
I feel like it was
like
said.
crematorium of questions.
Yeah.
Oh, also Ross texted us. He is fired. That's what we said.
Oh yeah. I mean, sure. We booted him. Yeah.
Yeah, kicked him
fired
out.
him. Kicked him out.
Yeah.
I mean, disgraceful kick out. Like, gone.
Absolutely.
Get out of here.
Fucking injected him with a serum and he broke his neck backwards.
Dude, he was just doing too much ketamine. Like, it became a problem. He was always K-tripping.
It's
Straight
true.
into a...
It's very true.
He was candy tripping straight into K-holes all the time. And we're like, Ross, at some
Enough.
point, enough. This is enough.
Yeah.
Here we are.
And enough is enough.
And so if this got serious, I feel like it's taking a turn. Like, if you need help,
Yeah.
go get help.
He should be. I was going to say, yeah, that's true. But also he should be here next week or next episode.
He's going to be clean. Hopefully he's
Yeah.
clean. Hey,
And we're
crematorium.
very serious about all of that. Yeah. Crematorium of questions. So how do we survive this one? All right. Shuttle bus is flying over Nazi Germany or Nazi occupied France.
We're just like on a tour there, and We're flying over it. Yeah, so it's
Well, I mean,
I like the idea of like two of us sleeping. Oh, I just imagined the Chuddle bus. Two of us are sleeping and they wake up and it's in the air. Somebody's flying it. You're like flying it. And we're like, how the fuck did we get here? There's all these warships
I don't know.
going on around everywhere. Like, what is that?
I think we drove into Overlord.
And then the Chuddle bus gets blown apart. Luckily, we have our parachutes
we
on.
all make it to the ground.
And we make it to the ground.
This isn't the part I think when we ask this, we are asking it in terms of the horror.
Once we get to the
obviously
the village
we could
or
have
something.
died easily before then. Yeah.
By happenstance, we just, make it to the village and everything. Okay. And then into the church.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we survive the church? We're not soldiers in this situation. We're just us. So
That's true. We haven't gone through any kind of basic training. I was going to say our main character is essentially not like a really good soldier.
We don't even know what guns are. What?
Right. Exactly. But that was like, that's,
a little more from video games. So
he went through. Yeah. Ross, if Ross is there with us, if he's not
That's true.
fucking on too much ketamine,
he'd be the gun guy. Yeah.
He's gonna
Ross, if you hear this and this ketamine thing bothers you, let us know. We'll switch it to something else next time.
He'll be doing
here.
some other drug down in Bolivia. It's fine. But I don't know. I feel like he might know them, but do we really need to know the guns to shoot the guns?
Probably not.
Maybe the big one.
Depends on them. Yeah. The handguns I could work with, I feel like.
So do we escape it? Do we make it out?
I mean, if any of these creatures are out, no. If we're boys early when he's just gets stuck in there and has to sneak out, maybe.
Right, true.
Even then, I'm not so certain. But
I mean, we might, like, if we see shit going down, I don't know if we're going to try to. They had a mission to complete, so they were trying to like do something, and like so they had reason to not.
We're just trying to get out of
exactly.
there.
We might be able to find the waterway, the pathway out, type of thing. Especially if we either do like a little sneaky. I think.
But if the mistake, that's what they call the guy who gets flame thrown. If the mistake is coming at us, I'm not even with guns because it takes a lot of. He get. Shot in the head a bunch.
Yeah, it just depends if we
you
alert the mistake.
Destroy the brain, right?
I don't know. Yeah, and we got to see if we're able to elude him.
Well, who knows? Yeah,
or one of us gets sacrificed. Two of us get sacrificed. This may be a situation where we all don't make it out. Only a couple do.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'd say though, if one of us gets got, it's one of those. Sorry, bro. I'm out.
It's going to be somebody,
and I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. Sacrifices himself.
If it were me, I'd be like. Keep going.
Or take the freak out. What's his name? Whatever his name is. Yeah. The abominate. The
mistake.
The mistake.
Yeah.
That works.
All right. How do you make the film gooier? Doesn't need to be gooier.
I don't really think so. I think it works on all levels there. I'm sure Ross would be like, well, let's see.
We could get a little more examples
if you have the
Nazi freak
commander just constantly like pouring out blood from his face.
Every time his heart beats,
it's just squirting
out.
Every time. Yeah, it's like squirting like a pulse. It's just like gushing, like Tokyo Gore Police. Like every pulse.
Oh my god! Just like a spray.
Just every time it sprays over whoever he's talking to, and they're just constantly White Russell's constantly getting covered in blood.
If you want to get gooier, give us the goo bag people more full on.
Right.
We get like
spending more
face
time
that drops out.
With the mistakes and monstrosities
in the lab,
and the stuff there, seeing those kind of creatures and failed attempts,
like the head lady, couple other things like that.
That's you could,
and that'd be good. I would take that.
I'd take that.
Villain level 1 through 10. I'm gonna say it's Nazi captain.
Yeah, definitely. He's strong. So he's not world-ending
power level.
Strong.
Yeah, once he gets it, I would give like a 3-5 because it's like super strength, but it's also ultimately would be his downfall at some point. He's not going to survive it forever.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's
even
like flames or explosions going to take you out. Yeah, I agree. That works. 3. Would you say 3? 3-5?
3-5.
Yeah, 3-5.
4 just feels too high for some reason.
That's fine by me. Iconography.
He looks rad as hell, especially once his face is blown off.
Yep.
And he's got that Nazi silhouette.
Mhm.
You know, once you're wearing that uniform, you can just pick it out.
Yep.
5 seems too high for me,
It
only
does.
because I've seen this before and I remembered him looking cool, but couldn't quite remember it.
The Nazi
you know?
look also kind of muddies it, I'd say, makes it generic and kind of you could remember. Wait, who was the blown off Nazi face? Was that from Overlord or was that from whatever. Nazi movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening quick, but I think it's still pretty fucking cool. Like I'll probably remember it. So maybe, yeah, like a 3.5 to a 4. I think a 4 is okay.
That's exactly what
I'll
I was
give him the
thinking.
4 for
Yeah,
the
go
benefit
for it.
right
Let's
now.
Give it
Let's
to
give
him.
it to the.
Yeah.
So what is that? 7.5.
7.5 out of 10.
Great, cool,
Strong
boy.
Very strong. 3/4.
You're strong, boy.
Should it have a sequel? If so, what is your sequel? I would love to see another. Well, I guess we have people who survive, so
That's
they
true.
could go on to some other thing. It could be like
Another Nazi lab base,
Not-
similar but different
Yeah.
type of shit going on.
yeah,
Keep it in the world.
they could
but-
be called. I was gonna say they could be called in for their expertise for that, but they're keeping it a secret that they know that.
right. Something you take it a complete different spin. They become kind of not necessarily rogue from the army, but like it's like a year or two later, and they're going on like they've created their own like little like Nazi lab hunting team that goes and finds these labs where the serum has gotten out or some shit like that, and they're like fighting. Yeah, go doing that little stuff.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I like our characters enough and the style of the movie, like the feel, the vibes.
I don't think it's necessary
that I would take one. It's not necessary, but I
feel like it could
I'd
be
like
done with
to
the
jump back into this world.
Yeah, I just feel like it could get quickly
Or brand new characters
muddied.
also set in this. Like it could be.
Oh, sure.
We know the Nazis were up to this shit, so just show a different one.
Right.
Something. I don't know. Or don't make them fucking traditional monsters. Give us some werewolf zombies or something. Or Nazis, I mean. Soundtrack or score on vinyl? You buying it?
No.
No, probably not. A couple things stood out to me once I thought to listen.
Right.
Even that, it's like does a great job in the movie, but it's not something I would listen to.
Agreed.
The only reason I do it is if it were I wouldn't never do it, but it would have to be cheap or cool. I wouldn't do it just because of the desire.
Right. That makes sense. I agree.
Is anything action figure worthy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of the mistake. Get a mistake toy.
The mistake.
Get any of the soldiers or villains.
Give them a changeable head.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, any of the soldiers. You get like maybe a multi-pack or something would be cool. Paul and Chloe would come together.
And you got to get like a weird like reactive cameraman toy that can like flip his head back and have the protruding neck bones or something like that, or he's almost like Stretch Armstrong material and you can just pull him back and it just like
would be cool.
Yeah, something there would be definitely fun with that.
It's like a stretchable skin material but with like neck ribbing in it, so it looks like you're seeing the bone through it when it comes back.
This just opens up for like the whole world of toys where they'll make, I don't know, Nazi mutants that weren't in the movie, just different variations, but there's the toy form of it. Yeah. I'd love to see that.
That'd be dope. Okay, merch, prop, promo item. Any of these? What would you want?
The
syringe. At one point, I had a pen.
Yeah, you had it. Yeah, the promo item, but
said Overlord on it. Yeah.
I'll take the prop off
the syringe itself would be the perfect prop
size
from this movie because it so really represents the movie, and you can just easily throw it into your pocket. Take up much space at all.
It's ready to go.
Well, the prop you really could.
Yeah, probably.
Something to get something with the plane scene somehow, or with the pair, particularly that one shot with him falling. Something somehow related to that. I don't know what it would be though.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Yeah, somehow like some prosthetic or special effect type of thing, because there's just so much of that in there. But I'm just like, was there the woman's head? Like if the head and the spine were a prop of sort, that'd be sweet.
Absolutely.
It's like there's some makeup cool shit there.
Midnight showing, throwing grenades at the screen.
Ooh, interesting. We can throw syringes at the screen.
Oh yeah, grenades and syringes.
Like the old like rolls of bandages. Anytime somebody's bloodied up and needs to be patched up, like they try to do, you can start throwing those at the screen.
Absolutely. Popcorn bucket. The headless Nazi on the motorcycle with the side cart. So like the side cart is your popcorn.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I like that one.
Okay. We can move on over to our ratings portion of the evening.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all get our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
Time to rate Overlord. On this show, we like to use a rating scale of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger represents a different quality about a movie. You can chop off half finger, no finger, whole finger, quarter finger, some version of that. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about a movie. Does not matter if the movie is objectively good or bad.
No, don't.
Bryan?
Hi.
You go ahead and go first, please.
Will do. Engaging. I'm kind of been struggling with this. I think I'll give it the 0.75 because I feel like there's just a titch of it for some reason where I just pull off. I'm not quite as engaged.
Sure.
So 0.75. Sticky. That's going to be hard to say because, based on time with this one here, but I'll be generous and give it a 0.75 with this one too. I think there's a lot of memorable action in this one. That's really cool. Just a lot of really good scenes and what they're doing with it. And especially the effects, the makeup and all that kind of shit is going to be, I think, sticky and cool. T-shirtable. Maybe I'll give it a 0.75 as well because I think there's certainly a lot of cool imagery. I just feel weird about wearing any potentially Nazi imagery.
Well, one interesting thing, it was in the we don't see any swastikas.
I noticed, especially at one point when it has like the fucking eagle thing or whatever, and it's usually holding that swastika, it's like almost a runic symbol in place of the swastika there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still like as cool as that dude is. Having him on a shirt, I mean, it could probably be done in the right way. It just still obviously feels a little weird. But I like the movie enough that it represented it, and I think there's cool shit from it. Cockles, I'll give it a 1 for Cockles. I was pretty rocked by this. I love the feel. I was just enjoying it. Rewatchable, I'll give it a 0.75 as well. I'm not rushing out to rewatch this again, but I could easily do it because I think it'd be a fun time. So a 4, yeah, that feels pretty solid and good. I like it.
Dope. I'll go next.
Yeah, you will.
Has Roos text us a score, or is he on too much ketamine?
He did text us the ketamine score.
Okay, excellent. We'll let him go last.
Okay.
Or you can read for him last.
Sure.
All right, engaging. I'm going to give it a full 1 for this. Watched it twice for the recording, saw it back when it came out. Yeah, I think it's a thrill ride for the most part. And even the slower parts, the character development I enjoy everybody. So I'm here for that. Sticky, I'm going to give a 0.5. I remembered, general plot points and sort of sequences, or rather just remembering that I liked certain things, but not really remembering what happened. So 0.5 there. T-shirtable, I'm going to give the 0.75 to as well. I'd like to have an Overlord shirt, but it would have to be the right shirt. Also, I should say, I thought I hadn't rated it, but in my head, I thought I would end up coming up with a 4 before revisiting it. And then since revisiting it, I kind of liked it a little less on the second time. And our conversation has really brought me back around on it. I think the reason why is everything's so surprising the first time, and once you kind of know it, it's just less of a thrill ride, Sure. Anyway, that'll bring me to Cockles. I'll give it a 1 as well. It just love everything about it. Again, atmosphere, vibe, action sequences, look. It's got the colors, the shadow, just everything. All the sets. Rewatchable is going to get a 0.5. I'm more than not against watching it, but especially now that I just watched it twice, I really want to give some distance to allow it to be less sticky and like I want to have forgotten a lot before I come back to it.
Sure.
So that's where that stands. That's interesting. It gives it a 3.75 in between a 3.5 and a 4, which was, I thought I was a 4, then I thought I was 3.5, and here I am in the middle. Works for now.
Works for you. All right, Ross, it's his turn to go. Engaging, he gives a 1. This entire movie had me hooked from jump street, or should I say jump out of plane?
Street.
You didn't say street.
Oh, that was me.
That was just Sam. Don't put words into Ross's mouth, please. Sticky gets a 1 as well. The wartime elements were so well done that they're going to be stuck like horse glue in my goo vault forever.
Whoa. Yikes.
T-shirtable. So this is going to get a 0.5 from me. This falls into films like Shockwaves that the bad guys are evil as hell and look cool and creepy. But
Nazis.
Yeah. Just this falls into films like Shockwaves that the bad guy. There's something probably auto-corrected that doesn't make sense as a sentence.
Sure.
I don't think.
He probably did talk to text.
Yeah. But I don't want to have a Nazi on my shirt. Yeah. But having a pulp poster style of all the American soldiers and maybe the fortress in the background could be a fun one. Cockles gets a 0.75. It was such a fun ride, but I wanted more zombie super soldier action. Like, give me a reject pit of like 40 half mutated zombies in a lagoon somewhere. But I love alternate history wartime horror movies, so it got my button pretty good. Yeah. Rewatchable is going to get a 0.5. I will for sure watch this again, but maybe as like a war horror film night. Throw in some Frankenstein's army and you've got yourself a World War weird kind of night. No, it's Saving Private Ryan is what you double feature this with.
Hello. He doesn't know yet.
Hell no.
3.75, same as me.
There you go. I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it's still,
I'm wrong.
I don't know. I'm already thinking it might go up. We'll see.
No, it's fine.
Who knows? Maybe it'll come down.
We did have a couple for the club.
I bought the 4K because I just assumed that I would give it a 4.
4K buyer.
Okay.
4K. Boss Tuna said, "God damn, I love this movie."
Nice.
Trevor the Witchmaster of Pleasure said, "Had a lot of fun watching Overlord, not the anime. I'm giving it 4 fingers in the Nazi scientist soup." Rickles, I give her a 3.5. I remember loving it, but couldn't truly rate it on the scale without a rewatch. And T-Boo says, "It's been a long time since I've seen it. Engaging, I think a 0.5. I remember feeling underwhelmed. Sticky, 0. I remember nearly nothing about the film. T-shirtable, 0. I'm good. Cockles, 0.25. I think there was some cool imagery. Don't know. Rewatchable, 0. I never watched it again and don't really plan on it unless when I hear this episode sounds like a lot of fun to watch. 0.75 out of 5 feels not right at all. It's due to not having seen it in so long, and my first and only watch just didn't hit, so I never went back. I'm sure it's at least decent. Yeah, I mean,
watched it wrong, pal.
You didn't have the robot ears for it or whatever it is. But
yeah, it could be that too.
We certainly enjoyed it over here, and that's all that the club had.
Wow,
for us.
Well, fine, Tivu.
Ended on that note. Yeah,
for us, how does this movie? What's the average score? How does it compare to others in the Goo Book?
3.8. So that sits in some good company, just under our 4.0 range, and 3.8s. We have a good amount of stuff in here. Child's Play 1 and 2. Speaking of, we just covered that whole series. Creep Show, Blair Witch Project, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Quarantine, Phantasm, We Are Still Here, and Freaky all sit at 3.8s from us.
Damn, that is a good list.
Yeah. And again, that's our collective score. So we have ups and downs and all overs with a place with this. Right below it, Night of the Demon sits at 3.7. Yeah. A few 3.7s, Tokyo Gore Police, Final Destination, The Editor, Jason X.
Yeah. Also good.
Yeah. Yeah. Good company. All
I want to revisit The Editor
in this area. Yeah. I'm okay.
Well, I think also I've still been watching a ton of Giallo since then.
Sure.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to go ahead and be done recording this episode. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. That does it for the Chuddle the Pod Movie Club meeting for tonight. Follow Chuddle the Pod on Instagram and Slasher. Do you post on Slasher? I don't use Slasher anymore.
I recently went into it again for the first time in a long time. That's the end of that story.
I do use Chuddle the Pod on Threads, though. Follow us there. Stay up to date with the podcast. Follow Ross Purvis on Instagram. He's not really on ketamine, so you should get tattoos from him if you're in the Orlando area. You could also buy his artwork if you're anywhere in the world. And you can follow me, Chuddle the Sam, Bryan, Chuddle the Bryan with a Y on Letterboxd if you want to see what we're watching on there and what we think about things. Please jump in our Discord. That's where the community's at. We're all having a good time in there. That's how you can be part of the show. Just to make it easy for you for all that, there's a link in bio. Thanks again if you made it this far. Be a friend, tell a friend, rate the show, all that you hear. Until next time, avoid the time loop.